the 2nd of September 2014 and me and Connie are finally about to watch Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie. The film has been in the making for many years and I've been excited for about 4 years. Basically, for people who don't know who the Angry Video Game Nerd is, I'll give you a brief kind of description. James Rolfe is the guy who plays the nerd, and he's been doing this basically like a web series for like the past 10 years now. In fact, they just celebrated the 10-year anniversary of the nerd character. And basically he plays this guy in a shirt, you know, and glasses, who plays old games and gets frustrated at how bad they are, and really gets anal about picking things about them that are horrible. But it's not just reviews like that, there's also little they're like short films where he'll be like, you know, fighting people, and like it just kept getting bigger and bigger as it went on, to the point where a film became kind of the idea to go with the series. And you know, he has a huge game collection, he reviews all these bad games, and I'm a big fan of the nerd character. I was introduced to him in 2010 by my friend Alex, and yeah, I just think the videos are hilarious. I love the way they're made, they appeal to me as a kind of filmmaker, kind of just the things that he does in the videos that are really cool. And yeah, there's a massive post on his Cinemasker website, which is his production company, Cinemasker, and I love all the stuff he does on there. You know, his previous like serious short films and that kind of stuff. But there's a huge post on his website about the timeline of the making of the film, and it's really ridiculous, like how much work went into this film that we're about to watch in a couple of minutes' time. But at the top of the page there's a very short summary, and it says, "The short version of the story is the script was written by me and my old friend during our leisure time between 2007 and 2010. So he started kind of getting the idea for it in 2007. 2011 he tried to get the project started, and that's when they had a fundraiser where they raised like over $300,000, which was crazy. And I actually donated towards that to get like a signed picture and a bonus video and stuff like that back in 2011, I think it was, or 2012. And in January 2012 he basically moved all the way across America, because he lives on the East Coast. He moved all the way over to the West Coast in Los Angeles to shoot the film, and he was there for like, I guess, 5 months. And he even says here it was a disaster. Moved back to the East Coast and began picking up the pieces of all the stuff they weren't able to shoot in Los Angeles, and then they tried to film pickup scenes with practical special effect shots. And that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing, is that there's going to be a lot of digital effect shots, but also the practical stuff as well, which will kind of harken back to kind of the days of old kind of monster movies and things like that, which he's a big fan of, and obviously wanted to incorporate into the film. And then he says in April 2013 they finished their biggest effect shoot. So again, they were still shooting like you know, a year after they'd started principal photography, and again it goes on and on. But in December 2013 they finally finished shooting all the pieces they needed, and then the final stage of editing and visual effects were done in the winter and spring of 2013, 2014, and then they did music and sound design in May 2014, and the film, it says here, is planned to be done and released on July 21st, 2014, and it was premiered in Hollywood at the Grauman's Egyptian Theatre, which is where, like, you know, I think the first Hollywood premiere took place, with Robin Hood maybe, I think. Return the Jedi premiered there. So it's crazy that he actually made this film with money from the fans and from himself, without a studio, you know, getting involved, and, you know, premiering it in Hollywood at the Egyptian Theatre. I thought it was amazing. And yeah, and then it was also said that there would be a online release in September. I hadn't really thought about that, to be honest, and there was no big kind of, this is the date that it's going to come out. And for the years building up to this, when they were filming and everything, there's been so many updates and video things and stuff. There was never really a release date. It was kind of sprung on us quite, you know, soon, a few months ago. So I was surprised when I saw on Facebook today that it was out today. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to see it. And yeah, I'll let you know what I think, or what we think. I'm sure Connie will join me in the video after it's started. So it was downloading earlier, and we're ready to finally watch Angry Video Game Nerd, the movie. I'm really excited. Can't wait. Let's do this.
The Atari 2600 was the pioneer in home video game systems. It created a cultural phenomenon.
Okay, just got done watching the Angry Video Game Nerd movie, and I think what I'm going to do is maybe make a video review, and I'm going to kind of spoilers / non-spoiler territory for people who are looking forward to seeing it and haven't seen it yet. But just my initial reactions. Loved it. Connie's gone to bed now, but she really liked it too. And yeah, I just watching it. It was kind of like almost like I don't know. It's almost like watching a friend's film, even though I've never met him. It's just like I was kind of almost constantly a little nervous about hoping that it would be good, you know. And at any time that it would kind of dip in quality a little bit, I'd be like, oh no, but then it would come back. I mean, it's not a perfect film. You know, there's little bits about it that weren't great, but overall, I think it's just an impressive achievement for a film that was not a no-budget film, but a film that was made without, again, the involvement of the studio and all the special effects at the end of the film, which again, some of them are a little more archaic, but I think they're kind of a throwback and a tribute to the films that James Rolfe is a big fan of, you know, the old monster movies, you know, and that kind of thing, particularly like Godzilla, and a couple of the miniature shots. I thought there was quite a few kind of homages to stuff like that. Of course, there's other stuff at the end that is similar to Godzilla, but yeah, I thought it was a great imaginative story, you know, that took the E.T. video game cartridge myth, which was actually proved to be true this year. I think they dug up the excavation site, and again, if you know the story, you know what I'm talking about, but I'll get into that in the review. That I'll probably do probably maybe tomorrow or the next day, something like that. But overall, I'm really satisfied with it. Thought it was great. Music was awesome. You know, the cinematography was great. I could tell that there was a lot of stuff that was done with green screen. And again, he mentioned that the kind of principal photography in Los Angeles was a bit of a disaster, and they didn't get to film everything they wanted to film. So obviously they had to go back and do green screen and stuff like that to kind of make everything work continuity-wise. But it kind of again goes along with the charm of it being an independent film. And you know, when someone makes a film and it's their first feature film, it's usually like it's like a drama, you know, like a very simple story with no special effects, no, you know, and the visual effects in this film, just there's so many shots, you know, it just blows my mind actually how much special effects work went into it, both practical and digital. So yeah, and there's a lot of cool references, some great cameos, you know, if you're into the nerd and stuff like that, and just little things to pick up on. But yeah, I actually really belly laughed a few times. Maybe 4 or 5 times, which is quite rare for me, unless I'm watching The Simpsons. But generally, kind of comedy movies these days, you know, usually you get about 1 or 2 big laughs out of them. But this one had quite a few, and was just really entertaining throughout. So that was my thoughts on the Nerd movie. I'm sure I'll be watching it many more times, and we'll get the Blu-ray whenever it comes out in the future. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
He says he's really cool, but I think he's a tool. Even though I'm sure he's a quite nice guy, really. He's a quite nice guy, really.